285 and a half hours. Normally, I wait till the end of the video to share how long it takes me to finish the challenge, but it feels fitting to share this immediately. Win or lose, I spent 285.5 hours attempting to 100% Ghost of Tsushima without dying a single time. The longest I've ever spent on a challenge, as I've faced everything Ghost could offer. To be clear, I do mean without dying. So even if hostages die, or I'm caught sneaking leading to mission failure, those don't count as dying. I'm only counting becoming a literal ghost as a challenge failure. As Iki Island is an expansion and I'm only counting the main game, it's not part of the run, but there's still endless obstacles to face. I will be playing on lethal difficulty the whole run, which means everyone dies in only a couple hits. Me most of all. I'll have to use everything in my arsenal, including what remains of my sanity, to stand a chance. So, with everything clarified, the world's largest and most obvious spoiler warning given, and my sword arm ready to take on the entire Mongolian invasion, let's try not to become a ghost of Tsushima. Well, that was fast. At least the Mongol horde didn't leave me in suspense. Didn't even have time to make myself think maybe I'd win on my first try. At least the second attempt goes smoothly, except for the whole samurai army getting wiped out, Jin's uncle getting captured, and Jin himself becoming a pincushion. But worry not, Jin is every parent's dream come true. See, when he takes damage like say from arrows or massive sword gashes, all he has to do is shrug it off, clench his fist, and say, nah, I'm fine. And it works. I had no idea the phrase shrug it off had so much life-saving potential. Saved by Yuna, a thief, Jin retrieves his sword, and I gotta say to the Mongol who interrupts him, how stupid can you be? If I saw a lone samurai survivor unsheath his sword in the coolest way possible, I'd be Scooby-Doo running away at max speed, not throwing my life away. Getting the greatest best friend of a horse ever, Yuna and I speed off to save Lord Shimura, Jin's uncle, but the Mongols ensure I never make it. Going again, I have to ask, does this look like a man ready to face an entire invasion force? There's not a thought in that beautiful head of his, which makes him a perfect fit for me. At least this time I'm able to make it to the bridge and fight the Khan to save my uncle. Except this is where the game demands you lose no matter what you do. Even trying to take the high ground by standing on your buddy's dead body doesn't work, and off the bridge I'm thrown. As usual, Jin just shrugs his shoulders and follows the wind to Yuna, where I insist on messing with the minds of the Mongols searching for me, yet somehow not able to see me popping in and out of these short flowers. I'm starting to wonder if they even really want to find me, or if this is just an excuse for them to enjoy a leisurely horse ride with their buds. I enjoy a cinematically gorgeous ride myself a moment later, and I mean, come on, look at this. It's just plain beautiful. Supposedly, this is what something called nature actually looks like, but I'm a challenge gamer, and the closest I've come to seeing a tree in real life was watching the movie The Lorax, so I have no clue myself. Finally, free into the open world, I'm smashed right back to the beginning by this big fella here. And trying again, I'm speared in that same spot from before. The best part of each of my deaths is that no cutscene is skippable, so I'm forced to rewatch them all time and time again. It takes me quite a while to realize I can save right before the game's first fighting begins, which allows me to skip the first 3 minutes of cutscenes each reset at the very least. Nothing to do about the rest, but etch them in stone directly into my brain, I guess. When I finally am free of the tutorial again, I make it safely to Yuna, and get to assassinating in the name of searching for her imprisoned brother. This may be hard for Jin's honor to handle, but it sure does make surviving so much easier, so I get the appeal. Problem is, karma catches up to me, as it always does, and right after, I'm shot right off my horse and killed before I can do anything about it. Fun, fun. What a rough beginning this is shaping up to be. All of this only accounts for the first hour of the game, and a full run takes 35 plus hours at the least. After each death, I get a tad further, and after giving a fox a much-deserved petting, I go help Sensei Insufferable track his missing student Tomoe. Here's a question I have to pose to the Mongols. You're hungry and want to eat, or perhaps you just want to chat. Perfectly understandable. But do you have to do it practically right on top of a very active hornet's nest? That doesn't seem too bright. Sensei Insufferable's a good companion to have at least, as he keeps me entertained, as I wait forever for him to catch up to me. Gotta say, I respect how little he's fazed by being blown up. I also really love that now that I have my bow, I can defy physics. It literally doesn't matter what stands between me and my target, as Jin must really have ghostly powers to fire right through supposedly solid matter to hit whatever I aim at. I help the sensei hold off waves of attackers, then head to help Lady Masako avenge her murdered family. It's very nice of her to give me her dead son's armor for free, but it doesn't save me from dying a moment later to another big boy. Losing 3 hours of progress suddenly did hurt, but by the time I was done with this challenge, losing 3 hours would be nothing in comparison. Sensei Insufferable's missions would prove extra, well, insufferable, as I was brought down over and over again trying to complete them. At least Lady Masako's tailing mission's much more fun, as I prove my stealth prowess as the Sonic Samurai. Nothing can escape my rolling prowess. In fact, I roll a bit too well when I fly past the man I'm pursuing. The price of such speed, I suppose. I help clear out a forest of ghosts, because there can only be one on this island, thank you very much, and then sit back and watch Lady Masako fight off a group of bandits by her lonesome. Hey, before you judge me for not helping, no, I am in fact bowing repeatedly, as it's the closest I can get to cheering. Moral support is my favorite kind of support. Well, that and raining down bombs should she fall. Speaking of support, I always have that in my amazing horse Sora. He's the absolute best, carrying me all over the island and being my only constant companion, despite how many times I make him jump off way too high of ledges with me. He's always fine though, worry not. Though one time, he did suddenly appear from heaven, smash into the ground, and then begin to hunt me every time I called for him. You might think he's the real Ghost of Tsushima with all this, but I think he's just being a big lazy baby, refusing to help me out. Drama king. Though I would agree on the ghost part, since no matter how impossible it may be, if I call for him without looking at him, he will suddenly appear right next to me, even after I just climbed a huge cliff face, or through a large gate. Doesn't matter what it is, his ghostly powers are too great to be stopped. Back on task, I'm able to help Masako bring down the first big conspirator that got her family murdered, and then help a random woman fight off a bunch of Mongols. Only problem is catching up to her when she takes off without me. You're losing the woman, eh? Story of my love life. Things are looking up as I take down Mongol camp after Mongol camp and help feed a starving woman by murdering a group of bandits and stealing from them. Is it really stealing if they're all dead by then? I then help out Ryuzo, Jin's best friend from childhood, by doing what any good friend would do and slaughtering huge groups of invaders with him. Goes to show how bad a strategy these guys are though, when in a later run I'm able to consistently kill them by just standing at the top of this lighthouse and picking them off one by one as they come up the ladder. It works for me. I take down a whole shipyard, get caught up in a classic sitcom case of mistaken identity, and like most sitcoms, commence a fight to the death, which I thankfully win, burn down a logging camp because fire is fun, easily free Yuna's brother with the power of stealth, and then come back to free the entire town with the equally powerful power that is my sword. Duels are always the most terrifying part of the game for me, as all my tools are removed and I'm forced to honorably fight in 1v1s with just my blade and my skill. Completely unfair, I know. I have it so hard. Victory is mine regardless, which is surprising, since I'm not good at even taking down bamboo stands. So how the heck can I take down fully armored warriors? I'll never know. I show off my shooting prowess with the mythic archery set, and by that I mean I barely survived the fight. And 3 minutes later, while sneaking around a Mongol camp, that barely's fixed to, I don't survive at all, knocking me back 9 hours. Well, new record at least, right? You might be wondering why I've been doing better bit by bit each run, and you might just think, surely all the experience has improved my skills. Which sure, maybe I'm an iota better at playing by this point, but really, it's cause I bathe a lot. Yep, I realize prioritizing trips to the hot springs across the island is key to success. Every time I go relax, my health goes up as the stress melts away, though I do have to wonder about these options Jen thinks about here. Ah yes, the two choices. Sensei Insufferable or a lover. I worry about you, Jen. I really do. You may doubt the water's healing powers, but look at this guy who spends all his time in these waters. He's truly achieved immortality. Beyond just the bathing, I also prioritize grabbing two vital charms right away. One that makes it so I heal outside of combat, and another that increases the timing window for parrying, and perfect dodges. The most key, essential part of this challenge, though, the absolutely most important part, is the skill to pick myself back up after going down as long as I have 3 resolve points. Without that, I never stand a chance. All of this massively improves my survival odds. Who knew using strategy could actually help? Plus, I just really look a lot cooler now, and everyone knows style's half the battle. I mean, it really is, as I change clothes every 2 seconds depending on the situation. If there's one thing Jin's good at, it's rapidly changing clothes within a heartbeat, despite a bunch of dudes trying to kill him. It allows me to save another town from waves of Mongols, take down a weird demon dude, and free Ryuzo's Straw Hat mercenaries from imprisonment. Helps to have a grappling hook that I can use to scale my way into the prison camp, but I find it a real wonder to whoever left all these handy rope points right in the middle of these branches, just so I can grapple across whenever I need them. Wow. So extremely conveniently placed. As for the large Mongol force inside the camp, no need to worry about them, when you can just chuck explosives to fix that situation. 50% more honor in every kaboom! With Ryuzo's men free and all my other allies helped as much as I can at this point, I head to Castle Canada to save my uncle. The guards aren't too difficult to remove, but I find my way blocked by Ryuzo. He's worried about his men or something, I don't know, I wasn't listening much. All I do know is he's betraying me. Here's a prime example of why I hate duels for this challenge. Incredibly cool, incredibly fun, they're just way too dangerous for me as my old friend strikes me down. And I was foolish, so I had already spent all my resolve points, so no picking myself back up. Recognizing how dangerous of a fight he is, I continue to fight him repeatedly so I can be ready for him when I return in another 10 hours. I repeat many of my adventures, then manage to die at the 7-hour point after I fall this adorable little fox and proceed to chuck myself off a ledge to my death. Nice one, me. Or the 4-hour journey that's cut short when I want to save 5 seconds by jumping off this cliff I was sure I could survive. I was wrong. I had the resolve to pick myself back up too. The game just said no, which it is very random about, since other times I'll fall large distances and it will let me pick myself back up from it. If I survive the real life stress induced heart attack, that is. It's honestly nice just to get my run cut short by a massive shield in the face. It feels less embarrassing that way. After helping Masako fend off waves of Mongols while trying to bury her sons, I go to face Ryuzo yet again. And yet again, he puts me down. It takes 10 to 12 hours, depending on how distracted I get collecting flowers, to reach this fight each time just for him to kill me. I really can't be blamed for almost letting him die to the Mongols, and consistently trying to blow both him and his men up with bombs and fire arrows before they can ever turn on me. The one nice thing about every reset is getting to visit this frog-loving shrine over and over. Please stop leaping off the ledge though, guys. I guess you're spirit frogs and should be fine, but it's giving me anxiety. This one frog statue really captures my mood every time I die. Like here at the end of the 2nd-hour point in the 3rd mission of Sensei Insufferable. I love to die to this one leader more than any other, since I'm still barely improved and love to insist on a fair fight like a fool. I become much smarter later on and just chuck blades at him. Who needs fair? I'm here to win, ya punks. Especially since the leaders with polearms caused my heart to go kaput more than any other. Honestly, it wasn't until I nearly finished the challenge that I became comfortable facing off with these guys with their fast, far reach and heavy damage. At least all these constant deaths made me prepare by prioritizing the Inari charm, which allowed me to collect far more supplies, which let me upgrade way faster, as I would not ever allow myself to face Ryuzo without the 2nd most powerful blade possible, even if I had to go heavy out of my way to search for the materials needed for it. That is, if I could ever get past the beginning area, as my confidence had grown too big, and my risk-taking was reaching well past my skill level. Hey, walking around with as little skill and luck as I have, you'd think I'd learn to have some sense, but unfortunately, that always manages to evade me. Hyping myself up as much as I could, I entered for the 3rd time against Ryuzo. Due to so many defeats, it had taken me far longer to reach him again, but now that I was here, I couldn't let myself down again. Funny how much worry can occur over a 45-second fight. But at last, I had beaten Ryuzo and completed Act 1 of 3. Of course, he escapes to menace me later, but at least all the remaining Mongols easily fell to a nice helping of arrows and explosives. Well, my uncle's safe, although I do have to wonder if he was ever in any real danger. I mean, look at this. He and his men can take quite a beating, yet nothing phases them. Why, as the only guy with an actual chance of dying, am I the only one doing anything? Not just anything, but everything. At least Uncle comes with to help me take down the nearest Mongol base, but then I'm on my own again. A whole new part of the island stands ready for me to explore. But of course, before I do that, I have to double back to save all the farms of the first part of the island from raiders. At least there's plenty of beautiful spots I miss doing haikus at. More people may die. I keep resting regardless. Well, too bad. So sad. See? It's good for the soul, even if I'm not good at it. I help Norio, the warrior monk, save a town from invasion, take down a group of bandits stealing fish, and pet more foxes. I can never pet enough foxes, and never for long enough. Petting foxes, taking down whole Mongol camps, writing haikus, climbing shrines, and crushing Straw Hat mercenaries in 1v1 duels. The nice thing about getting this far is I've hit a flow, and while the enemy gets stronger as well, Jin is truly much more powerful than where we began. Usually, the only part where my heart tries to flee my body is any duel, but my luck continues to hold. A key lesson I've learned by now is not to heal when I take damage, as I can use the resolve to pick myself up, wasting none on healing until I can no longer pick myself up. I'm mostly just sticking to side tasks, but that's pretty key to upgrading as much as possible. Like the fact that I now have the Gosaku armor, my favorite go-to armor. It allows me to destroy an enemy's block bar incredibly quickly, and when buffed with charms that make it do that even faster and do more damage, plus heal with every enemy defeated in this way, it's perfect for wiping out whole groups. Like when the Yarikawa clan that I've allied with is attacked, it's fantastic at wiping out the Mongols in no time, and then taking on their leader in a quick, brutal win for me. I feel, sure, I could have better skill, but I really think I won because my hat is so big that it intimidated him into losing. This is a great rallying moment for the people, and I continue that great moment by helping Norio hold off a Mongol force attacking his temple, not once, but twice. After that, I get into what must be a truly cinematic, amazingly shot duel against a lone Straw Hat mercenary. Well, I assume it must be. I barely notice past all the panic that sets in as I barely hold my own against him. He takes me down nearly right away, but with sheer desperation coursing through my veins, I'm able to double down, show a tiny bit of skill, and beat him. Only to get killed by some Straw Hats 10 minutes later. Well, frick. 23 hours of hard survival gone just like that. Ow. Goes to show you can die just about anywhere at any time. In fact, that's exactly what happened for quite a while, so why don't I just shut up for a moment and we all just enjoy the many, many times I became the literal Ghost of Tsushima. I'm starting to think I may not be very good at this game. Nah, it's the game's fault. It's just trying to make me go insane and cause my downfall. I'm on to you, game. You won't stop me. No one will. Sorry, where was I? Oh yes, finally making it back to Act 2, I do the world much good by mercilessly taking down a bunch of fox poachers in the most heart-wrenching mission ever. But at least I get the greatest reward of lots of fox love. I push on, helping Yuna face her past demons, by, well, literally murdering them all. That ought to do it, I suppose. What a good friend I am. I then set out and take down all the Straw Hat duels across the land, finally going against their leader, who really has a flair for the dramatic. So many lanterns, and what a place for a duel. I respect it, honestly. By now, I understand the key to the duel is overwhelming force, followed by quickly dodging back, while preparing to parry the moment the enemy escapes my attack. That way I can properly respond to anything they do before unleashing more overwhelming force upon them. It was the same tactic that got me through the horrors of kindergarten, and it served me well here. You might think I stripped the guy for his armor, but nope. He's clearly still wearing the exact same outfit. I guess Jen is just an amazing tailor, whipping up an exact copy seconds after killing the man. What astounding talent. At least we know he has a backup job should this whole wiping out an entire invasion force by himself not work out. Oh! I almost forgot, side note, but I have also single-handedly created a whole new business for the island. Yep, I'm responsible for destroying every single door I've come across, even foregoing stealth in the name of door destruction, because why do we have doors? What are they hiding? Doesn't help that whenever I come back, even a moment later, the doors are fixed, but I think that goes to show why the destruction needs to happen. No door can be trusted. In other, perhaps smaller ways, I've also helped the island by setting out to shut down all of Tomoe's archery camps with Sensei Insufferable. I then go retrieve my cool as hell family armor, But tell me, why does it look so cool in the flashbacks, but this is what I get helmet-wise? At least fully upgrading it fixes that, but who thought the first version was a good idea? I then spent an afternoon with Jen's dear old caretaker, doing fun, wholesome activities, like traveling the beautiful area by horseback, collecting flowers, and oh yeah, poisoning my enemies. All pretty standard relaxing activities to do with family. Right after, I had the most wonderful pleasure of being back on that mission that got me killed earlier, and I had a very therapeutic stroll right through their camps with my blade. Not just the men's straw hats, but the women and the children too. A fun part of the game is just how much falling scares me at this point. I more than know how one bad fall could ruin my whole run, and the shrines were all about dangerous jumps. But I had figured out a helpful exploit, where if I had split second timing, I could fast travel away to safety before the fall could kill me, and that made everything a lot safer, though it didn't stop my blood from pumping at super speed at every long jump. With that done, I help Masako deal with more of her conspirators, but things go less than splendid when she turns on me. Masako, we're friends, remember? We bonded by killing a bunch of people together. I guess in hindsight, making all my friends murderous and vengeful isn't the safest move, but gosh, I never expected it to backfire this bad. Masako very nearly kills me, but like before, Panic Me works wonders, bringing her down without further issue. Not sure how wise it is to immediately turn my back to her to deal with the incoming Mongol threat, but I guess who hasn't tried to kill their friends before in a blind murderous rage? We've all been there. No biggie, Masako. What comes next might be a tad more of a biggie though. The retaking of Shimura's castle goes pretty smoothly, and I really get to let loose on the battlefield. Though the attack stalls a little when I notice my uncle is oddly missing from the attacking force. It takes me a little to find him all the way back here, just loitering, I suppose. Not only does that seem a bit dishonorable, Uncle, but there's literally a no loitering sign right next to you. So I'm just saying, maybe you should come help us fight. Or you can just ignore me and pretend I'm not here. Excellent. Keep this up, and you'll definitely earn your place as my new dad after all. Leaving him there, I press on with my attack, even going forward to defy his wishes and choosing to poison the entire Mongol force here. I said it in my sword-only challenge, but honestly, does no one else find it odd how the entire Mongol force here all drank their poisoned milk in perfect unison? The only way Jin's poisoning plan could actually work? I had no idea synchronized drinking of literally every guard here was a thing. Well, I guess it's not a thing anymore. My round 2 with Ryuzo thankfully goes much, much better than my round 1. As well, I know all his moves now, and how to duel in general. That does help, you know. What doesn't help me is my uncle turning on me, saying things like I've defied the Shogun's law, and him, by poisoning all the invaders, and little things like that. If he didn't want me to do this, you'd think he'd have said so.
Your methods were brutal. Impulsive. Without honor. But you can't continue down this path. Not like that. Never like that. Face them as a warrior with honor. Not a monster. Terror is not the weapon of a samurai.
Poison the enemy.
An act of terror.
I am trying to save our people.
By teaching them to fear us.
This really isn't on me. I escape imprisonment, and here's where everything turns to hell. No matter how much I see it, I can't handle the death of Sora, my beautiful horse, as samurai archers shoot him, but Jin can't stop to look after him properly. Just why, game, why? You can literally kill everyone else. I don't care. Just don't touch my horse. I need a moment. Let's just take a second to remember what once was. Now, where were we? Oh yes, I slaughter Mongols left and right for what happened to my baby boy, build a new headquarters, and then set about collecting all the records, artifacts, banners, shrines, bamboo stands, hot springs, and everything else I might have missed. I wipe out all the remaining Mongol camps with extreme wrath, though honestly, almost go down way too many times in my lack of caution. Not everything is violent. I do also go on a nice horseback ride with Tomoe, making friends with her and letting her go off into the horizon after bonding the only way Jin knows, by killing a bunch of people together. I also help Norio and the monks take back the big temple, and finally track down Masako's family's lead murderer, all without bloodshed. Okay, I lied, lots of bloodshed, but all for a good cause. Mostly. I also climbed a giant freezing mountain, where I can easily die if I stay still for too long due to the cold. Probably should have actually worn some clothes. That might have helped, maybe. There we go. I had wiped out every Mongol camp, collected every item possible except for some of the flower dyes, which I'd collect later, visited every location, completed every tale, and basically done everything except the in-story missions. I know the numbers don't look right, but that's because the very last artifacts and records are behind the story's last missions, plus the rest of the missing are counting Iki Island, which is not part of this challenge since it's DLC. Well, I guess this is it. Time to kill the Khan and save the island. The path to the Khan isn't particularly difficult, and honestly, it's fun to unleash everything I had to take down everyone in my path. I've worked a long time to get here after all. And then there he is, the Khan himself. He's not like any other duel of the game, as he incorporates a polearm, not a sword to fight me, which means I honestly don't know what I'm doing here. But I've been through so much, so I have lots of experience to rely on. Yet not enough, it seems, as I go down over and over, and within moments I'm out of healing resolve, while the Khan has barely been touched. Thing is, as I've proven, I may be an idiot, for sure, but I also work rather well when desperate, and this gives me the strength to just barely, and I do mean barely, beat the Khan. Only for him to toss poison in Jin's face. I'd love to shrug it off, but I used all my healing to win the fight, so I pressed the attack instead. This is a mistake, as the poison forces Jin to do nothing but stand there for one crucial moment as I'm struck down. I have no healing, and that's it for me. I had beaten the Khan, but lost to his poison. I have no words to sum up what it's like to lose at this point. 99% done with the game, after spending 35 hours on this run alone to get this far. 205 hours spent in total, but now I'm dead. I fully intended to call the challenge lost here, and even proceed to play the rest of the game through, not falling ever again to any of the coming fights, but it didn't matter for the challenge. It was just so I could experience the rest of the journey. Thing is, I had to win this challenge. I wouldn't stop until I had. So after beating the game, I realized I could practice fighting the Khan over and over again, which I did for an hour. And then I restarted the story once again, only to get killed 5 hours in. I took a much needed break to get other challenges out, and then came back a while later and did pretty good, only for another evil death to occur. This one in Act 2 by a random patrol where I got shot by a fire arrow and a bomb at the same time, meaning I was literally on fire, so every time I picked myself back up, the fire knocked me back down again, till I could no longer rise. Fun stuff. I get even further the next round when I screw up in one of the easiest duels in the game against a simple Mongol leader. The kind of duel I've done dozens of times by now, but still managed to die to. And then to really rub the pain in, I go down in the tutorial section while trying to save my uncle to that same spearman from before. Perhaps I should have been paying more attention to the fight, and less to call me Kevin, but who needs that? After 50 deaths, I began again. And you know something? This one actually got somewhere. I survived the bridge fall, helped Sensei Insufferable, helped Lady Masako, saved Taka, helped the good people of Tsushima, dueled fight after fight, took down Ryuzo, saved Lord Shimura, helped Yuna, bonded with Sora, protected the people of Yarikawa, wiped out all the Mongol camps, took down all the Straw Hats, picked oh so many flowers till the island was practically bare of them, avenged Taka, poisoned an army, killed Ryuzo, lost Sora, helped Norio, pet so many foxes, relaxed a bunch, practiced my sword work, parkoured all over, wrote some pretty cool haikus, appreciated the beauty of the island, collected every last collectible possible, and finally went up against the Khan again. I didn't know if I was ready, and just like before, I went down repeatedly, using all my healing up before finally bringing the con down. Wow, this is exactly what happened before. But unlike before, I was prepared for the poison, instantly throwing down my smoke bomb, which both healed me and gave me an opening to kill my attackers. Then I let loose every tool, every trick, and every attack I had on the Khan and his men, making it an incredibly easy fight where I actually felt a little bad for the guy. Not really, not after all he had done, and I had finally saved the island. But despite the Khan's death, I had one last real test. Lord Shimura, Jin's uncle, has been ordered by the Shogun to kill him for treason. After one last moving haiku with my uncle, I lay into him. I'm sorry, uncle, but I'm not about to lose this whole run to your misplaced loyalties. You elitist, pompous jerk. No offense, but you are trying to kill me. With one last surge of sword strikes, I beat my uncle, spare his life, because I've beaten this game 3 times and I've never chosen kill, and walk out as the legend that is the Ghost of Tsushima. Wow. I did it! Huzzah! I have successfully 100% beat Ghost of Tsushima without dying a single time. I mean in one run. I obviously went down 50 times, over 285 and a half hours, but those were all practice runs for this one, right? That took 38 and a half hours alone? Thank you all for watching. I truly hope you enjoyed. Ghost is certainly going down as one of my favorite games of all time. As I'd hope anyways, with all the non-skippable cutscenes searing it into my brain forever. If you want to enjoy my Iki Island standalone adventure, that shall be next week. I hope to see you there. Just remember, if you truly want it, don't give up. Unless it's evil, then maybe rethink your wants. Have an amazing day, friends. See you later.